Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hi, it's Tom Antion here with a special edition of Screw the Commute podcast. I call it Higher Education Exposed, How Colleges and Universities Are Robbing You. This is the audio track off a webinar I did about this same topic. If you'd like to see all the visuals, you can visit screwthecommute.com/webinars. Now, this episode and webinar is sponsored by my distance learning school, the Internet Marketing Training Center of Virginia, certified to operate by SCHEV, the State Council on Higher Education of Virginia. My school is considered vocational. Now, vocational education used to be only for second-tier students who couldn't make it academically. Well, that has changed dramatically in the past few years. In fact, CNBC said vocational education is preparing students for the 21st century workforce. You see, new-collar workers have emerged. Yes, I said new-collar. They aren't blue-collar handling a jackhammer, and they aren't white-collar running banks on Wall Street. But they are a force that makes this country run, and they're being hired by the millions because they have skills that every company needs. And mostly, it's online. Now, this episode is going to amaze you on how little people are learning at college and make you mad about the amounts of money that are being charged for a crappy education. So get ready to listen to Higher Education Exposed. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Tom Antion here, and I'd like to welcome you to today's training session. I'm really glad you made it, because today I get to pass along to you a concept that completely changed my life many years ago. And that concept is the ability to learn a skill in around 6 months that puts you into a position for a high-paying job, if that's what you want, or to consult or start your own business, or both. And guess what? Even though it sounds crazy, you could be a high school student or a 50-year-old MBA, and this concept still applies. And wait until you hear about the study I'm going to show you that was done with 2,000 college students across 23 major universities. I hope you're sitting down with a good hold on your wallet when you see that. Anyway, I decided to hold this webinar because I'm constantly asked, how can I do what you do? So today I'm going to take you behind the curtain and show you exactly how to get the training you need to make this happen without taking on hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt and wasting 4 or more years of your life to do it. Let's briefly talk about debt. I don't mind you borrowing to pay for your education as long as you or your child get an education. And that education better give you skills to get a good income when you graduate. Students in America are buried under $1 trillion in debt, and most of them can't pay it back from the jobs they're able to get, if they can get a job at all. My secret is this school that I founded. Currently, it's the only licensed and dedicated school of its kind in the country, probably the world. It's licensed to operate by the State Council on Higher Education in Virginia. They call it SCHEV. But don't worry, you don't have to move to Virginia to attend if you decide you want to. You don't have to rent an apartment. You don't have to pay extra utilities. You don't have to get roommates, because this is a distance learning school. If you can understand the English language, you can attend this school totally on your schedule. You can even take classes at 3 o'clock in the morning if that suits you. I have to tell you, I sweated blood to get the license for this school. Myself and my leadership had to go through background checks. I had to prove my financial stability. I had to get bonded. I mean, the whole thing took me over 3 years to comply with all the regulations imposed by the state and get on their agenda for a vote. It was quite an ordeal. but worth it to be able to provide a high-quality school that actually helps people succeed, as opposed to bloated, high-tuition schools where some of the worst people can't even get fired because of tenure laws. I think that's disgusting. If those professors aren't doing a great job teaching you or your kids, they should not be there, and you should not be paying their salaries. All right, what's this all about? Around 1994 is when the commercial internet arrived on the scene. Since then, the internet dominates our life. Every company, large or small, has a website, blog, social media, shopping carts, sales copy, email and text lists, videos, and a myriad of other parts of their online presence. Every new company knows they need all of the above and more. Who's going to build and operate all those things that are imperative in today's business culture? There is an enormous demand for people in this field. They are called new-collar workers. They aren't blue-collar running a jackhammer, and they aren't white-collar running the stock market. But they are critically necessary for virtually every single business on earth. These new-collar workers come from all walks of life. Look at these people. The guy on the top left looks to be lounging at home. The guy below him is outside, probably on his porch. The blonde lady is at the park. The young man at the top right is at a coffee shop, and the lady on the bottom right is working with her child in her lap. Now, according to IBM CEO Ginny Rometty, employers can't find the skilled workers they need, even though job openings are at near record highs. For these types of jobs, no one cares if you have a fancy degree from a college that forced you to take art history. And I'm not making this up. Here are some courses offered at expensive four-year universities. Check this out. What if Harry Potter was real? Gee, I don't know. What if he was? Appalachian State University. Philosophy and Star Trek. Georgetown University. Look at that. Invented languages, Klingon and beyond. That's another Star Trek reference from the University of Texas. The science of superheroes, University of California at Irvine. Listen to this. Lady Gaga and the sociology of fame, University of South Carolina. And I'm not making these up, and there's plenty more if you just type in crazy college classes in Google. Do you really want to mortgage your house and work an extra 10 years of your life to pay for this kind of education for you or your children? And then if you're lucky, get a job at Starbucks? Well, I don't think you do. Also, the evidence is mounting. Students are learning virtually nothing and spending only a tiny amount of time per day on anything academic related. Now, a major TV network did a 4-part series and an investigative report on the results and effort students are putting in while attending college. The results will shock you and your wallet, all right? Now, as outlined in the book Academically Adrift, Limited Learning on College Campuses, 2,000 students who enrolled in a 4-year college were tracked over a period of years. Look at these statistics. 45% of the students did not demonstrate any significant improvement in learning over the first 2 years of college. 40% didn't learn anything at all over 4 years. 35% of the students reported spending no more than 5 hours a week studying, which represented an enormous decline from several decades ago. The average full-time college student now spends only 2.76 hours a day on all education-related activities that include going to class, studying, and class preparation. Can you believe this? They spend more than 3 times that, or 8.2 hours a day, shopping, eating, and partying. Now, there has been consistent decline in adult literacy despite the fact more kids are going to college. Now, two separate studies by the National Assessment of Adult Literacy found most college graduates fall below proficiency in both verbal and quantitative literacy. The majority could not complete simple cognitive tasks like comparing the viewpoint of news items or even calculating the cost of food items in the grocery store. Another study as far back as 2005 found that only 31% of college grads could read and understand a complex book. I wonder what that number is today. Other surveys found that American college graduates are far more ignorant than students in virtually all other developed nations. In some cases, college graduates in the USA get the same test scores as high school graduates in other countries. This is bad. The Educational Testing Service said, a decade ago, the skill level of American adults was judged to be mediocre. Now it is below that. Now, here's another thing. Do you know what colleges are doing to you? They're messing with your mind. They are padding the grades and raising GPAs or grade point averages to make it appear you or your child is doing better, even though they aren't. Colleges want you to think they're doing better to justify their constant tuition hikes. Now, this is all according to gradeinflation.com. The average grade point average in 1983 was 2.8. The average grade point average in 2013, 3.1. How did this happen? All right. Because they systematically raised the grade points to make things look better. And private schools, and you can read that as the most expensive, are some of the worst. One school's cumulative GPA for graduating seniors was 2.84 in 1983. In 2014, it was 3.4. How does that happen? It didn't happen for real. It happened because they manipulated the figures. The New York Times reported 43% of all letter grades are A's. Only 10% are D's and F's. Now, here's the thing. Kids know less, but are being told through grades that they know more. I mean, what's happening is, if you really look at it, more kids are failing, but nobody is failing. I mean, colleges barely teach, but every year they increase their fees. Now, according to Mark Roosevelt, who's the president of St. John's College, at best, only about 20% of college grads even work in a field they majored in. Now, there are many books written about the dubious value of the standard college degree. This is one called College Unbound. It says the student loan debt is surpassing the $1 trillion mark, and unemployment of college graduates is at historic highs. I mean, people are beginning to question the value of that degree. The great credential race has turned universities into big businesses and fostered an environment where just middle-tier level colleges can command elite university-level tuition while concealing the staggeringly low graduation rates and churning out graduates with few of the skills needed for a rapidly evolving job market. And the author of this book, let me tell you about this guy, Jeffrey Salengo, is a leading authority on higher education around the world. I mean, he's editor of the Chronicle for Higher Education. This guy is no slouch when it comes to knowledge about education. And things are so bad, he's ragging on his own industry. Here's a book called Excellent Sheep. People magazine said this is the groundbreaking manifesto about what our nation's top schools should be, but aren't providing. The ex-Yale professor, I guess that's the author, effectively skewers elite colleges, their brainy but soulless students. Wow. Those are sheep, apparently. Pushy parents and admission mayhem. Here's another one. The case against education, why the education system is a waste of time and money. This book said, despite being immensely popular and immensely lucrative, education is grossly overrated. Again, this guy has lots of credentials. His name is Brian Kaplan. He's a professor of economics at George Mason University. He's a research fellow at the Mercatus Center and an adjunct scholar at the Cato Institute. Again, no slouch. Next one is paying for the party. In an era of skyrocketing tuition and concern over whether college is worth it, this is a powerful expose of unmet obligations and misplaced priorities. It explains in detail why so many leave college with so little to show for it. And I'll throw in, except a lot of debt. And I get the authors of that book, Elizabeth Armstrong is a sociologist from the University of Michigan, and Laura Hamilton's a professor from the University of California. These are people in the system. This isn't just me attacking the system to sell my school. These are people inside the system who know how screwed up it is and aren't afraid to say it. And that's probably because they have tenure so they can get away with it. Nobody can fire them. And don't be surprised if people in the education industry tell you college is a must. I mean, I don't fault them for this. It's all they know. They went to school, they got advanced degrees, they got big loans, and they're surrounded by the brainwashing, and they're just passing it on. It's really a shame to me. So, whether you have kids heading towards college age or you yourself need some new and marketable skills to keep up your family's lifestyle, this might be an option for you. You can be more valuable for employment. Hey, you might even want to start your own online sales and consulting business. And listen to this. When I first started my online business, my first hire was a 10th grader. He was with me for several years and then went on to start a series of companies and is now a millionaire. Plus, when you see how little the tuition is for our school and how fast you can get up to speed, I think you're going to be amazed. And one other thing, if you're totally convinced your child still needs a degree, and I know that's been hammered into your brain for 100 years, our courses can be taken concurrently. I mean, they can fit in training on their cell phones between the keg parties and the sorority parties. And am I kidding? No, I'm not kidding. So in this webinar, I'm going to show you the types of skills you would learn and how necessary they are to virtually any business. The first thing that you need to know is that many e-commerce courses at big universities are pretty much comprised of theory work and designed for statisticians that would work at Walmart crunching numbers all day long. Well, let me tell you, the people counting the money don't make as much as those bringing in the money. Now, to be successful at this, you need real-world skills that use extremely cost-effective online tools to reach more people and turn them into customers. Now, if you have these skills, you can pretty much write your own ticket, and you can also have your own business, either full-time or part-time on the side if you want to. Even if you do want to work for a big company, you won't have to put up with their long hours, BS, and decreasing pay scales if you don't want to. You can always use these same skills to bring in money directly to your bank account. And in many cases, you don't even have to talk to anyone or be a salesperson because it's all online. Now, I think what's best about my internet businesses is I don't have to deal with anyone I don't like. I just love that. So what I'm going to do in this webinar is show you the types of things you or your child would be learning and why they are so valuable. I'll be showing you examples from my online businesses and from those that have gone through my training. My primary goal for you today is to show you, number one, there is a modern alternative to throwing money down the drain on a 4-year degree that has much less value than in the past. Number two, that these skills can be gained relatively quickly. And number 3, knowing how to operate the internet efficiently can make you or your children financially more well off than you ever dreamed possible. Now, why is this important to you? Well, there are many reasons. One is that large universities are getting more bloated all the time, with the quality of education decreasing. You could spend several $100,000 and be in debt for 10 to 20 years, struggling to pay it off. Money that didn't produce a high-paying career. Number 2, like the IBM CEO said above, jobs in this field are waiting for you. This is a field that is on the rise and will be for many years to come. And number 3, professional firms charge a fortune to create websites, manage email lists, social media, and all the rest. Many small businesses can't afford these high fees. This leaves a giant marketplace for reasonably priced consultants, home bloggers, and social media people to make a darn good living handling these tasks. Now, you're going to see how easy it is to create ebooks, videos, and other online content like membership sites. Take a look at some of these ebooks right here. All of these, with the exception of one, are just electrons that bring in lots and lots of money to my business. This one on the right is the one that's the only one out of all of these that's actually printed. Now let's take a look at some of these videos. This is one for my tennis website I have. This is a interview I did. This was another interview where I was critiquing the president on his presentation skills and so forth. These are YouTube thumbnails that you learn how to make. So all of these things are nuts and bolts, things that are easy to learn, but there's lots and lots of them. Let's look at some of these membership sites. Copywriting is one of the most important skills for any business person. We have a copywriting membership site. This is a membership site where I teach a lot of internet techniques. This is a membership site for public speaking stuff. This is a membership site for shopping cart access. These are just really, really great ways to have money coming in every month right off the web. And once you learn how to create and drive traffic to sites like this, you may just want to sell your own products and services online or make your own membership site. And while we're on the topic of membership sites, let's go through some of the ones that are available to you. I mean, there's just literally thousands. I'm just going to run through a potpourri of different topics here for you, but tennis, golf, embroidery. You know, there's over 30 monthly membership sites that send you a pair of socks every month, right? Parenting, divorce, dog training, technology, cybersecurity, scrapbooking, archery, guns, welding, electronics, self-help, marriage, babies, go-karts, dogs, cats, horses, and thousands more. Now, I wrote an article one time, and it was titled, "When Does 20 Equal 24,000?" Let's just take a look at this example. If you had a membership site with only 100 members, which I might add is about as pitiful as you can get with the billions of people on this planet, okay? Let's say you only had 100 members at $20 a month. They paid your membership fee. Times 12 months is $24,000 a year. 100 members times $20 a month is $2,000 a month, times 12 months is $24,000. What if you had 200 members? You made $48,000, and that puts you way above the national average individual income of $31,099 from maybe a day a week just to put some more information up there and manage the members, right? So this is extremely lucrative. There's some that have thousands of members, depending on your topic. And if there's already some out there, that means there's a demand. And you put your membership site out there and do a good job running it, you'll get your fair share of the business. Now, one other thing I want you to understand, because a lot of people, it's hard for them to picture that they could create a product. Well, guess what? You don't even have to have a product of your own. you can promote other people's products as an affiliate and get a commission each time someone buys. I mean, this is a really great way to do things because you don't have to handle all the customer service. The person that delivers the product handles that. By the way, sometimes affiliate programs are also called associate programs. But the bottom line is somebody else creates and delivers the product. You just promote it for a commission. I mean, Amazon was the biggest one that started this way, way back on giving affiliate commissions. And yeah, I know they're having some trouble in some states, but still the concept is there. You refer people, you get paid. Now, I don't want you to think during this webinar I was a silver spoon kid or something and everything went perfectly, right? Because I didn't make a nickel online for the first 2 years doing it full time until I got good training. In fact, I wasted a lot of time and money, but then 4 years later, well, you know what, I'm going to keep you in suspense for a little while to tell you what happened 4 years later. Now, by the way, while we're going here, you might want to shut out distractions, shut off your Facebook, sedate the kids, get some refreshments. All right. Make sure you have a pencil and paper handy because you're going to want to take some notes. Well, the first thing is, why should you listen to me? Many of you might know my story already, so I'm not going to drone on, but you should know I'm not someone who just read this stuff out of a book. I've been a lifelong entrepreneur starting at about 10 years old. I was selling advertising specialties like matchbooks, pencils, and pens, door to door in my small town. And check this out. I bought and sold a used car when I was 15 years old and made $180 profit. All right. I didn't even have a driver's license or learner's permit. But I guess that makes me a used car salesman. But wait, I don't want that reputation, but no offense to used car salesmen. All right. But don't worry though, even if you hate the thought of selling, you can still have an internet business and never speak to anyone if you don't want to. Now, starting with nothing, I owned 5 apartment buildings and a hotel before I graduated from college. I owned a nightclub, which was a nasty business, and an entertainment company, which was a really fun business. And then I became a professional speaker teaching business topics to people all over the world. And then around 1994, when the commercial internet came to be, I mean, I was flying all over the place, coach airfare at the time, by the way, and busting my rear getting from city to speak. I was selling my products, which at the time was books and tapes, I mean, sometimes CDs. When I saw the internet come along, which would let me sell my stuff around the world from my desktop, I was hooked. I mean, it was hard enough in those days to sell across the street, let alone around the world. I studied every possible source. I spent a fortune on a shopping cart. It was $2,000 up front, and it would barely work. It was nearly impossible to get a merchant account. Anyway, I struggled for 2 years. Then I got good training from a guy named Corey Rudel. Unfortunately, he passed away in a car accident not too long ago. I mean, he was the 30-something-year-old grandfather of internet marketing. I think he was making about $5 million a year from his bedroom computer. And as soon as I got good training, I started making money. Maybe $50 in a week, then $100, then $500, then $1,000, and since then, I've had lots of $30,000 weeks. I've also had $250,000 days. Now, admittedly, those don't happen very often, but when they do, it's a happy day. Now, here's the suspense thing I referred to earlier. Only 4 short years after getting good training, I was an internet multimillionaire. I founded one of the top 3 longest running internet seminars. I founded the only facility of its kind, the Great Internet Marketing Retreat Center. That's where I'm recording this webinar for you in Virginia Beach, where people come in from all over the world to study internet marketing in my estate home. And I founded the school we'll be talking about today, where it took me 3 years to get the license from the state. Now, again, the best part about all of this is that I only deal with people I like. So now, that you know a little about my background, you're probably wondering, is this material and training session today? Is it right? Is it going to be useful and relevant to you? Well, if you have teenage children and you want them to have the greatest chance of having a career that will serve them well into the future, then yes, this is for you. If you're a person who either wants to leave your current profession or has been displaced through downsizing, corporate mergers, or simple personality conflicts, then absolutely this is for you. If you're already in business and you realize the power and importance of the internet to your business, but you don't want to spend the tens of thousands of dollars or more in web maintenance and labor to gain the benefits of the internet, this webinar is guaranteed to open your eyes to both saving money and gaining 3 or 4 times the sales and clients you currently have. Now, if you're shy or introverted, if you're a person who cringes at the thought of selling anything to anyone, but you know that if you could just figure this out, it would change your life forever, this is especially relevant to you and will solve that problem once and for all. Hey, if you have cash flow problems in your personal life or in your business, and if you'd like to learn a skill set that could increase your income by 3 to 10 times within the next year or so, then this is for you. And finally, if you want to add a side business to your income, make your hobbies tax deductible, and spread your name and expertise around the world so that you get way higher than average fees, then today's training session will show you exactly how to do that. Now, with all that being said, I have some house rules before we dive into the content. See, I refuse to pander to anything that resembles or supports a get-rich-quick mentality. So if you're looking for some kind of do-nothing type of miracle sales gimmick that will magically make you rich, well, I'm sorry to say, you will certainly not find that here or anywhere else, really, because there is no such thing. Today, I'm going to teach you about the real skill sets you can acquire to eventually, maybe, make you rich. Now, the process I'm going to share with you today works as well as it does because it's based on honesty, transparency, and real-world techniques. Unfortunately, this formula can also be used by bad people to do bad things like spamming, stealing money and identities, and things like that. So if you're someone who wants to manipulate or take advantage of people for your own personal benefit, this is not for you, and I would appreciate it if you would just leave now. I'm not going to teach you to start porn sites or illegal drug sites. I mean, if that's what you're here for, leave. Ultimately, the only way to get what you want in life is to help others get what they want. So if you do not have a sincere desire to help and learn how to help people and others and deliver an incredible amount of value to others, then this is not going to work for you. Again, because of my commitment to honesty and transparency, I've just thrown out some multimillionaire language at you in the past few minutes. I've told you I became one only 4 years after getting good training. I think it should be fairly obvious, but I'll say it anyway. My results are not even remotely typical. It took me years of study and work to figure this stuff out and to master this process. This is what allows me to give you this massive shortcut in the form of a school. Just remember, you will ultimately have to put in the required time and work. Any reasonable person would agree with that. And while I hope that you surpass my levels of success, and a handful of my students actually have, I'm not going to remotely suggest or claim that you're going to make a dime, because I don't have control over your decisions and actions. Not only would it be unethical for me to predict your success, it's illegal for me to do so. Now, following our theme of honesty and transparency today, we both know that the vast majority of people who go to traditional colleges, as I've shown above, learn little or nothing. And according to the St. John's College president and many other sources, 80% make no money at all from what they went to school for. It's kind of like tons of people bought exercise machines and have it sitting in their garage collecting dust. They want the end result, but at the end of the day, they're simply not willing to put in the time or work to make it happen. The ones who do get the rewards. And one last thing about this. If you think you should just send the kids to college because the neighbors will think poorly of you, or Uncle Joe says you're a bad parent if you don't, then you've been brainwashed to think it's the only way, then this information probably isn't for you. You're welcome to go into debt and or put your kids in debt for years to come to pay for their partying experience. If objectively college is right for you or your kids because of specific career goals that demand it, hey, then I'm all for it. So long as you don't fall into the take easy classes and spend only 2 hours a day out of 24 working towards your goals, then I'm not for it. All right, so if you're still with me after that little rant, let's dive in and get to work. Right now, I'm going to show you how some targeted higher education will allow you and or your children to beat the system and get the knowledge to create a great career or business 10 times cheaper than traditional colleges and university and 8 times faster. So the first thing you need to know about is what are the traits a school must have to make sense when it comes to efficiently giving you or your children the skills to have a great career and income without incurring enormous debt. So here's the first trait. The knowledge the school provides should be able to be accessed from anywhere in the world at any time of day and on any device. You should not have to stop your entire life to get the learning you need to succeed. You could be working to keep the bills paid and still be studying your coursework on your schedule. All right, the second thing is, the school must make sure you have the necessary skills to get started earning a living without taking years to acquire those skills. The longer it takes to get your education, the more debt and living expenses pile up, which is why many graduates today got a general education, no marketable skills, and they're working at low-paying jobs that don't even require a college degree, and collectively they've got trillions of dollars of debt they may never be able to pay off. And number 3, you have instructors and assistant instructors that have actually done what they're teaching you, and they are available to you for questions. You will undoubtedly have questions. Plus, you should have weekly live interaction if you want it. If you can't be there live, you should be able to access the recordings. Now, before the commercial internet came along around 1994, I had been in my own business. I fought to get new customers. I fought to get publicity. Although I was doing well, I always had the worry of bringing money in without a paycheck. Now, other marketing experts were telling me to do more cold calling. I think I made one call and I got nauseous. I absolutely did not want to beg for work and talk to people that had no interest in me or what I do. When I got wind the internet would let me click my mouse and sell my stuff around the world without talking to anyone or being forced to make sales pitches, which I loathe, I was extremely excited about it. Now, that is until I dug in and tried to figure it out myself, okay? See, I'm not a technical person. I could barely send email. Back in those days, you had to totally depend on tech people. I called them techno geeks and propeller heads, lovingly, of course, all right? It literally took me over a year to get the graphic of one of my books up on the website. There was no way to make a website cheap by yourself. Everything was raw code. I struggled for over 2 years from 1994 to 1996 trying to figure this out. I constantly had to fight the fear that this was just not going to work out and that I just needed to keep fighting it out the old way and be limited in my income and security forever. Or maybe I just wasn't cut out to use technology to earn a living. Well, if you ever felt that way, there's a reason, and it's not really your fault. Until my school came along, this kind of information wasn't taught in schools. This skill set wasn't taught to any of us. We're not offered a how to create an ebook and sell it online class in school. So The only way you'd even have a chance of learning how to make digital products is if you happen to take a job at a digital publishing company. And what are the chances of you getting the job if you don't even know what the different types of ebooks are? All right. And this is only one facet of online marketing. So don't be hard on yourself because this isn't common knowledge. You have to seek it out, which is what you've done here today. And I kind of think you'll be glad you did. So while I hated the thought of learning more than email on my computer, I hated the thought of scratching and crawling for my income for the rest of my life even more. So I kept fighting the internet lion and kept working at my online business thing for the next 2 years with little to no success. Well, I guess that's really not true. I was very successful in discovering things that did not work. All right. Well, I had a choice. I could quit this online fad stuff or keep fighting the internet lion to get the knowledge. Now, you have a choice too. The internet hasn't been a fad for over 25 years. It's here to stay, and opportunities in internet careers and businesses are almost limitless. Now, are you willing to open your eyes to the new way of doing business? Or you can always fight things out the old way and saddle yourself and your children with massive debt and frequently a subpar education with few job prospects. It's your choice. I chose to keep fighting it out to learn the new way of doing things, and I'm glad I did, and I think you will be too if you stick with this. I finally found a good solution that would change my life forever. After buying every lame book and course on selling online, I was fortunate enough to run into a guy named Corey Rudel. Unfortunately, he passed away in a car accident years ago. Corey was a rare combination of a tech-savvy young man who also had a great marketing mind. Back in those days, I paid him $1,230 for a half-hour consultation. I kept studying with him, and I immediately started making money. No, it wasn't instant riches, but it started out $50 in a week, then $100, then $1,000, $10,000, then a long string of $25,000 weeks would burst up to $75,000. I mean, only 4 years after that training, I became a legitimate online multimillionaire, which I maintain and build on that status to this very day. Now, keep in mind, in those days, there were only a small number of things you had to learn. There were no blogs, no social media, no easy and cheap website creation software, no texting, no tablets, no smartphones, nothing. Today, there are many more things to learn, and it would take a lot longer without help. Now, why does getting internet training actually work to make you and your children recession-proof? One reason is that because none of these tools are hard to learn if someone teaches you. And we're not talking about coding or becoming a programmer. We're talking about learning where to click on many of these off-the-shelf tools to make money. There's just lots more of them to learn, which means more opportunity for you to not only use the tools yourself, but to work for others who are not willing to learn them. You've heard lots of business people say, "Oh, I'm not good with technology." Well, if they knew what you are going to learn, they would see it's not about technology. It's about learning how to put tech tools together to make an online marketing system that sells for you with little or no live interaction with customers. Another reason it works is that the field is expanding like crazy with not enough competent people to fill all the positions. According to the Small Business Administration, there are 29.6 million small businesses in the USA alone. That doesn't even count all the other English-speaking countries. These companies represent over 99% of employment in America. Every single one of them needs to use the internet wisely to survive. How many of the owners of these businesses have ever had one single course in internet marketing? I'd be willing to bet not even 1%. Virtually all of these businesses are allotting a significant budget to pay people like you to create and maintain their ever-expanding needs for a fantastic online presence. One more reason, according to website development company Devrix, 75% of small business owners think that internet marketing is an effective or very effective tool to attract new customers. What's interesting about that is that even though only 75% out of those small businesses think that internet marketing is an effective tool, all of them are going to do it anyway because they know they will look bad as compared to their competitors if they don't. Now, Forbes magazine said, subject matter experts open doors. And that's what you'll be when you graduate from our school. Many business people are happy to pay large salaries for subject matter experts to take these burdens off their back. Also, frequently, you can legitimately work from home. Now, I say legitimately because we're all aware of the numerous work from home scams, which I'm vehemently against in my consumer advocate role. According to Business News Daily, only 32% of employees spent all their time working in or at their office this year. The reason there are legitimate opportunities now is that big businesses are facing skyrocketing lease costs for space. Why should they pay $50 to $100 per square foot per month for you to sit in an office building doing the exact same thing you could be doing at home? They don't need to pay a supervisor to watch over your every move to make sure you aren't taking too many bathroom breaks during the day. All they have to do is review your blog post or your email or your shopping cart work in a hidden area online before approving it. They can afford to pay you more and still save money by getting rid of their overhead costs. If you choose to operate as an independent contractor, in other words, you start your own business, the people hiring you save even more money by getting out of payroll taxes, making you even more attractive as a person to hire. Also, many businesses don't feel like they can keep up with the constant change on the internet. I know we have a full-time staff and it's hard to keep up. They know they need to because if they don't, their competitors will, and there are consequences to their business. So using old information on updating your website can literally get you banned from Google. Hey, it even happened to JCPenney one time. Nobody wants that. I mean, getting banned can devastate a business. So they pay people like you to keep an eye on things for them. Now let me show you several things. As you go through this, you'll see that the Internet Marketing Training Center only teaches you extremely practical and immediately usable skills. And we teach you how to keep up with the rapid changes after you graduate. This will make you extremely valuable as an employee and give you the option to start your own online business and or consulting service. So you'll have 3 courses. Every single thing we teach is not theory. It's practical information that in most cases can be implemented immediately. So what kind of things will you learn? Keyword research. This is in course 1. These are the words and phrases people type to find your product and service. Most people use a few at most, if they use any at all. Just to give you an idea of how this works, we had a book years ago on wedding receptions. How many keywords and phrases and keyword phrases do you think we found about wedding receptions? 10, 20, 50, 100? What's your Price's Right closest guess? Well, the answer is 6,300. That sounds crazy, right? Well, let's just look at the wedding cake alone. You got wedding cake icing, wedding cake bakery, wedding cake accessories, best wedding cake, where do I buy a wedding cake, how do I buy a wedding cake, how big a wedding cake do I need, wedding cake size, how many pieces does the 24-inch wedding cake give? I mean, you get the idea, right? That's just the cake. Well, keyword research should be done before starting a website. Most people get what I call CSI. That's crazy, stupid idea. All right. You think it's crime scene investigation from TV. No, it's crazy, stupid idea. They spend a bunch of time and money developing their idea before they know if anyone's interested in their idea. Keyword research tells you this because the tools you'll learn about not only tell you all the ways people are typing things in, but how many times per month they're doing so. This allows you to make informed decisions about the ideas that will work and what won't. And this could help you be a valuable asset to your company that you work for because you save them a fortune by developing ideas that nobody wants or is looking for. Now, email marketing is in course 1 also. Even though we have all kinds of fancy social media ways to reach people, guys like me to this day still make big money from email. You'll learn how to get people to give you their email address. You'll learn how to keep track of those emails, do broadcasts, keep people separate on different interest lists. You'll learn the differences between HTML email and plain text, how to create autoresponder emails, how to stay compliant with the spam laws so you don't get in trouble. Then we have social media. This is a rapidly changing field. We have to update our curriculum as you go through the coursework. That's how rapidly things change. And that's a big advantage of our school over most big schools. I mean, you're lucky if they update things once a semester. Most probably the same course material is used for years. See, being big and slow, they can't possibly keep up on changes that happen daily on the internet. Our school does, and that's an enormous advantage to you because not only will you be on the cutting edge of what's going on, you will learn how to keep up with the changes after you graduate. Making world-class websites. You'll learn how to create gorgeous and highly functional WordPress websites and blogs for less than $100. Membership sites for less than $300. Remember, I told you how much money they make. This skill is easier than ever and will allow you to create them for your work or for yourself. And it also allows you to try ideas that would be too risky if you had to spend thousands of dollars on a website. Related to websites, you'll learn about hosting, formatting the sites, tags or keywords, where to put them, basic search engine optimization, linking strategies between sites, shopping carts, merchant accounts, all nuts and bolts practical stuff. Now in course 2, you'll learn about creating online marketing materials. You'll learn basic copywriting. This is writing words that make people buy stuff. You'll learn about profitable sales letters, creating ebooks, creating e-courses, finding targeted traffic, advanced search engine optimization, blog post marketing, list building, and an introduction to membership sites and an introduction to affiliate marketing. Remember, I said you don't even have to create the product. You just promote someone else's product. And in course 3, you have an introduction to paid advertising. You know, you can fight it out with the search engines for a long time and never get anywhere, but with paid traffic, you can, by tomorrow, have targeted people visiting your website, or you can lose your shirt if you don't know what you're doing. So we teach you what to do and how to stay out of trouble. Operating forums and discussion boards. Video marketing has really taken off like crazy. We teach you how to do that. In fact, one of our instructors wrote 3 books on YouTube marketing. So that's the kind of material you'll have access to. Understanding analytics, or when you read how many people are coming and where they're coming from, so you can capitalize on that. You'll learn advanced blogging, joint venturing, which means you make deals with other people and they promote you and you promote them. Or they might just promote you and you give them a commission if they sell anything. Email list management, more advanced email stuff. International websites, which technically they're all international. They can be seen anywhere, but sometimes you have different languages you want to have your website in. Mobile marketing is a big field where people get text messages. Telephone seminars and webinars are still ways that we reach people and create products and educational materials. Sales funnels, you may have heard that term, which leading people through your site in different fashion depending on what they do to get them to buy more, convert them into customers. content marketing, this creating blog posts and articles and videos and things like that, and syndicating them so they show up all over the internet. We also have electives. So let's talk about that a little bit. You'll be required to take 3 per course for a total of 9 to graduate. You can take as many as you want, and like everything else, they're subject to change depending on what the most important thing is that we feel is something that you need to know about because of the changing internet. Here's some examples. Now, again, like I said, these are subject to change as new techniques emerge and others become obsolete. Selling a product on eBay. And you might poo-poo that, but I still love eBay for customer acquisition. I mean, I can buy whatever I want, but I go to eBay and get bargains all the time. And I want you to get new customers that way. In fact, I'll tell you a quick story. I almost quit eBay when somebody ordered a brand new $24.95 book of mine and wanted me to autograph it, and they paid $2. All right. I'm thinking I should quit this. Well, guess what? That was my 2x4 to the head that I shouldn't quit this, because the next week the guy bought 2 of my $1,000 public speaking, pro speaking systems, one for him and one for his kid. All right. So eBay is customer acquisition, and you can make money there too. Create a slideshow video with Animoto. It's a specialized type of video generator. Creating newsletters in Kickstart Cart, the shopping cart system. You can discover discussion forums, create a custom branded channel on YouTube, make a clickable video in WireMax, create a slideshow presentation in Google Docs, start an account at eZine Articles, create a quiz for your website, promote products with Amazon's affiliate program, add a YouTube video to your WordPress blog sidebar, upload a Microsoft Word document ebook to Kindle. That's Amazon's super duper email format or ebook format. Test out a Facebook ad. Collect a video testimonial for your business. Create a press release for your business. Establish what jobs are available in internet marketing to you and your skills. Create a listing on Etsy. That's a place where you can sell products. Plus, we have weekly topics of interest, which are usually something current and or changing on the net. If you can't be there live, they're recorded so you can listen and watch later. Now, it would be unethical for me to guarantee what I'm going to say next, but it certainly is possible for gung-ho students. The beauty of all this is that you can be practicing and doing your lessons on actual sites and potentially making money before you even graduate. And every single thing we teach is highly practical. Go back and look at all the things I just rattled off. These are all things that I guarantee you I could take a major executive or a major IT person from Walmart or Sears or some other giant entity, and they would be clueless on how to do these things. All right. Now, how are you going to find the time to take these courses? Well, when people tell me they don't have the time to do things, my feeling is they have the time to do what is a priority in their life. Now, check out these statistics. These are from Nielsen. From their report, United States adults are watching 5 hours and 4 minutes of television per day, on average 35 and a half hours a week. That's slightly more than 77 days per year they're watching the tube. According to Forbes magazine, the numbers for teens are startling. American teenagers from 13 to 18 years old average about 9 hours, 8 hours and 56 minutes of entertainment media use, excluding time spent at school or for homework. Tweens, that's 8 to 12-year-olds, use an average of about 6 hours, 5 hours and 55 minutes worth of entertainment media daily. Now, is that you watching TV? Are any of those shows you're watching helping you get a high-paying job? Are any helping you start a business? Are any of those shows giving you any financial security or ability to earn large sums of money? Yeah, you might say maybe you watch Shark Tank or something. Well, guess what? That ain't you. And you're not going to use that to make money. Hopefully it inspires you to do what I'm telling you here. Now, do those figures reflect what your kids are doing online? Do you think they could trade a couple hours a day playing games or listening to music for an income of their own and great job possibilities? If they don't do something, they'll be able to play online 24/7 because they won't be employed. So I contend there is time, especially since in our school, you're only obligated to doing 4 lessons a week to stay off probation. At the low end, this would only comprise 2 to 4 hours a week. I mean, anyone who goes to school and won't commit that much is clearly not making it a priority. In our school, gung-ho full-time students could complete the classwork within 6 months. But we can't give you a certificate until all your classwork and electives are complete and at least 6 months have passed. Well, why is that? See, so many for-profit schools have opened up in the past, giving terrible and worthless short courses for enormous amounts of money that the state and feds have been cracking down. Our school is a minimum of 6 months to graduate, and you must pass all courses with at least 75% correct answers to all the quizzes. The state has looked at my curriculum. Every year we have to recertify. They look at the curriculum again to make sure I'm not shortchanging students. In addition, I'm the founder of this school, and I'm not going to put my name on something that's not high quality. All right, so let's get back to how long it takes. A really gung-ho part-time student can complete the work in 6 months. Someone who is part-time and takes advantage of the many electives available would take 6 months to a year to finish. Remember, all along the way, you could be putting what you learn into action to sell something of your own online or to act as an affiliate and get a commission if someone buys something through your affiliate link. Now, how many schools do you know where you could be making more going to school than your tuition costs? All right. Now, for years, I've been preaching to my students about using your throwaway time. This is time when you're driving, doing your hair, flying, waiting at the car dealer to get your oil changed, and things like that. I wrote an entire 1,042-page book while on layovers at airports. I wrote a 36-page ebook in a 4-hour layover at McCarran Airport in Las Vegas, which has brought in nearly $3.5 million over the years. We'll show you a little screen capture here of the last time I ran the figures. With the advent of smartphones and tablets, you can literally study anywhere and anytime. Yes, some things will be easier to do on a larger screen, and you should have one available. But if you want this to be part of your life, you can make it happen. Also, this school is considered asynchronous learning, which means you don't have to show up at a certain time to be in a class with others. You work at your own pace on your own time. Yes, we do have weekly live events, but they do not require your attendance, and they are all recorded so you can listen anytime. So to recap this section on time, you have to commit a minimum of 2 hours per week, 4 lessons per week. It's available on cell phones and tablets in addition to laptops and desktops, so you can be anywhere. It's available online 24/7, so you can do it on your schedule. All right, now, how do you pay for your education? Well, first let's talk about expenses you're saving for going to a school like this. Well, you have no travel, you have no apartment or dorm payments, you have no additional food budget, you have no parking fees, no additional cable TV and internet fees. Now, this is a real important one. It's the time you spend on your education is the time where you or your family is spending money. And unless you're working a job that equals your tuition and living expenses, each month you're out of the job market, you're creating debt that has to be paid back. This means the decision to become a permanent student, 4 years to 10 years or more, better darn well pay you back with an enormously well-paying job, or you will be struggling for years with most of your available cash flow going towards paying off loans. Now, according to collegeboard.org, a very significant cost of going to college is lost earnings from the time devoted to school instead of the labor market. So I've run I got off of the site, cost of traditional college. These are from money.com. A 2-year community college, $15,120. Public colleges for resident tuition is $56,840, and private nonprofit college is $104,000. Now, CNN warns you of the following. You can't tell the actual cost until after you're enrolled. And I'm thinking, you mean you're buying something and you don't know how much it costs till after you bought it? That's crazy. Now, the next thing, colleges routinely raise fees. Just this past year, fees were raised on average $250 at community colleges, $900 at public colleges, and $1,760 at private colleges. And this doesn't count books. Let's talk about that. CNBC reported college textbooks cost too much, and something needs to be done about it. According to a report from the advocacy group USPIRG, the College Board estimates that the average student in this country spends about $1,200 a year on books and supplies. A single book can cost as much as $200. Now, I admit that report was several years old. Prices have come down a little because of digital learning materials. But just like everything else in the traditional institution, no one is in a hurry to eliminate bloated textbook prices. They figure you're stuck and just have to pay or rent the books. Plus, they have enormous college bookstores they want to keep profitable. So let's add a $1,200 a year to the cost above. For 2-year community colleges, you get $17,520 now. Public, you get $61,640. Private, you get $109,200. All right, let's move on to the lost income. Time magazine reported the average starting salary for a college grad, if they get their job in their field, is just a smidge under $50,000, $49,785 to be exact. All right, so let's add those lost wages to these different types of learning. Well, 2 years of lost wages is going to make your cost of community college $117,000 now. Public college for residents is now going to be $260,000, over $250,000 now. Private nonprofit is going to be $308,000. My God, this is getting out of sight. So let's throw on some living costs. Now, these are average 9 and 12-month living expense budgets. You know, if you go to that site above there, you can see the 9 and 12 months differences depending on if you're going to college and spending 12 months a year or 9 months a year. But the budgets reflect increases in the consumer price index also. So let's look at this. For 12 months on a moderate budget, you got $24,980. For 9 months, another $18,000. A low budget, if you're just squeaking by and being very careful, it's still $16,000, and 9 months is $12,550. A lot of money. So when you add the living costs, 2-year community college goes from $135,000 to $142,000. Public college, $279 to $285, and a private, $327 to $333. And none of this includes laptops, cell phones, vacation travel, spring break, automobiles, gas, oil, insurance, parking. This is the real world cost of college. Now, let's take a look at what we have to offer at the Internet Marketing Training Center of Virginia. It's a distance learning school. It's the only licensed, dedicated internet marketing school in the country, certified to operate by the State Council on Higher Education in Virginia. They call it SHEP. Now, we're certified to operate and we're highly scrutinized by the State Council on Higher Education. We have to recertify every year, and they make surprise visits sometimes, so we have to really stay on our toes. Yes, there are e-commerce classes, I mentioned before, tied to major universities, but I can assure you they are not run by a multimillionaire who does this every day for a living. They don't update their curriculum daily like we do to reflect changes in the internet. I mean, you'd be lucky if they update the course once a year. They don't teach real-world, immediately usable techniques. It's more theory and statistics and e-commerce consumer behavior mumbo-jumbo. Now, there are no additional training material expenses. There are no textbooks to purchase, and all the other training can be done with free trials of software and services while you learn. Even if you decide to use the things you create for your own online business, the costs are minimal. For instance, website and blog software. WordPress is the gold standard of the world, and it's free. A website theme. There's thousands available for free, but if you want a really fancy, nice one, maybe you'll pay $100 for that. So you've got $100 for a website instead of thousands. Website and blog hosting can be as little as $5 a month. Custom graphics can be as little as $5 on sites like Fiverr. Merchant account, if you bother to go for one, you can operate with PayPal for a long time. But if you decide to get a full-blown merchant account for Visa, MasterCard, American Express, again, which you can still take through PayPal, you're looking at $20 to $40 a month. Your shopping cart system and email broadcast system will be the biggest ones, $129 a month, but that gives you autoresponders, affiliate program, coupons, upselling modules, all the tools to run an entire e-commerce business. But you don't have to have that even to start. If you don't sell your own products and you decide to only do affiliate marketing to start, you don't have to have the shopping cart or merchant account expense. There are even ways to do it using YouTube that don't even require a website. Now, you'll have no additional cost involved for travel, housing, groceries. You live where you live. You don't ever need to set foot at our campus, and you eat whatever you would have eaten, all right? You don't have to worry about your roommate stealing your food. Lost wages. Zero. You can continue to work or get a job if you want, and it won't have an impact on your studies. Our tuition. Now, I really don't want to put something on a recording because I'm not sure when you're listening to this. I will tell you it's similar to the 2-year community college, but 4 times shorter and with way more marketable skills than you could ever expect from a 2-year community college. In fact, many people go to the 2 years as a warm-up and still have to go another 4 years at a regular college. I'm afraid to look at the numbers associated with 6 years out of the job market. I think they call those people professional students. And when I say it's similar to the 2-year community college, I'm just talking about the simple base tuition. I'm not talking about all those other add-ons that you'd lose if you had to go 2 years. The best part is we finance it for you with no credit check and no interest. With a small down payment, as little as $1,000 to get started, I mean, payments can be as little as $250 a month. If you put the entire thing on a credit card, it gets us out of the accounting hassle over several years, so we'll give you a big discount for that. We also give big discounts for military and military families, people with disabilities. In fact, this training is the best there is for people with mobility problems. Not only can they learn without leaving their home, they can legitimately be employed also without leaving their home. Now, I've done well on the internet over many years selling all kinds of wholesome things like public speaking training, tennis DVDs, dog clothing, and lots of other things. I've also used my knowledge and success online to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for charities. Because I've done so well, it puts me in the position to be able to help adults retrain themselves and younger students get a good start in life without being buried in enormous debt like they would most likely be in traditional higher education. It really infuriates me what is occurring on college campuses today. As you saw previously, learning and good teaching is going down the toilet while bloated fees keep rising and putting families and individuals under crushing debt. I want to do my part to turn that around. So that's why I created this school, and that's why I'm guaranteeing there is no better deal out there for this kind of high payback education. But there's one big problem out there. Many people think they can simply sign up for some newsletters and figure all this stuff out on their own. Well, you certainly can give it a try, but here's what you're up against that wasn't around that much when I first started. There are now thousands, and I mean thousands, of unscrupulous people out there that are great at writing sales copy to get you to buy their overpriced, substandard, how to get rich on the internet products. Maybe, and I say maybe, a tiny percentage of these products have techniques that work. Hey, with no experience, how will you know which ones are BS and which ones aren't? You won't. You will likely pour a lot of money down the drain. Most of the industry is totally unregulated. People say whatever they want with no one checking up on them. That's one of the reasons I started this school, to set us apart from the scammers. As the founder, it took 3 years to get the license. It took 5 or 6 years so far perfecting systems and keeping the curriculum updated. The experience you get at the school will let you recognize fact from fiction so you never pour money down a drain again. Now, I also had one lady join my program and the same day quit after she talked to her son who worked for Intel. That kid that worked for Intel had no clue about running a shopping cart and selling things online. She was bragging that he was Microsoft certified. Woo! Look at this question. I can't even understand the question, let alone the answer. This is a sample from the Microsoft certified course. Do I want people like this in the world? Yes. Do I like them inventing stuff that I can use to get rich? Absolutely. Do they know anything about internet marketing and making money online? No. I wanted to laugh in her face, but I know she was just going all out for her son. I mean, in 30 seconds, I could have made her son look like he wasn't even in preschool when it comes to internet marketing. But I didn't want to embarrass him. So she left and made nothing of her website. The bottom line is that to be successful with this, just like I did with Corey Rudel many years ago, you must get good training from a legitimate organization. You just can't skip the process. If you want to become a doctor, yeah, you have to go through med school, lawyer, law school, accountant, traditional college or university. If you want to make money online for yourself or for a company that you work for, you have to learn how all the pieces of this gigantic puzzle work together. I always tell people figuring out the internet is like putting together a jigsaw puzzle, but you don't have the box with the picture of what the final puzzle looks like. Well, our school is the box. You can't get swayed by some good copywriter sitting in a small apartment who can barely make his car payment or her telling you how to get rich. I don't know what your confidence level is when it comes to creating a massive online presence. An automatic sales machine on your own might be right now. 20%, 30%, 50%, 90%? I don't know. Well, what would your confidence level be if this school walked you through the entire process step by step? Would that increase your confidence level to the 90% range? And what if we could shorten your learning curve down from many years of costly mistakes, like it took me, to just 6 months? And then within that 6 months, you could actually be bringing in some money. But I want you to have a quality education and teach you how to keep up with the rapid changes. So that's why you don't get your certificate till at least 6 months. Then, as an alumni, I want you to still be able to keep in touch with us and our alumni program, which will also help you keep up on changes. Well, today I'm going to give you the opportunity to get the training you or your young adult needs to change your life or to get you off on the right foot to a great career without being crushed with massive debt like you would have if you wasted 4 years or more at a traditional college. So here's how we're going to do that. We have a limited number of students we can accept. Well, why is that? We're a distance learning institution. We could literally put 100 new people in our learning software tomorrow. Yeah, sure we could. But we would not be able to grow great instructors overnight. We don't put an instructor in front of you that hasn't either done what they're teaching or have been personally trained by me. We're not an enormous university that throws hundreds of students in a giant lecture hall with little regard for their success and even less regard for personal attention. Those instructors don't even know or care if you even show up. We do. I'm not going to ruin my reputation and have my license pulled by the state for giving a shoddy education. That's why we limit the number of students we accept at the time of this recording to 10 students per month. Now, here's how it works. You will have an initial conversation with either me or an admissions person. I do not pressure anyone, and we do not have a bunch of machine guns forcing you to sign up. But please don't book a call unless you're serious and are able to financially come up with a reasonable down payment in the $1,000 plus range and be able to handle several $100s a month to pay for your education. This is one of the best opportunities in higher education, and we have limited numbers of students we can take. So please don't book a call unless you're serious about moving forward. Now, one of the reasons we're the best opportunity in higher education, besides giving you marketable skills faster than anyone else, is that we're in a position to finance your education with zero interest and no credit check. We require a down payment in the $1,000 plus range. The more you put down, the lower your payments will be. Many students that don't have that amount of money explore relatives and friends for help. Some do crowdfunding campaigns. Some get a temporary or semi-permanent job and use all their paychecks to get their down payment taken care of. Some even sell some of their belongings on Craigslist or eBay or one of the many local buying apps on the phone. Hey, one of the really hidden great things out there, if you have a PayPal account, there's a thing called PayPal Credit, where you can have financing depending on your relationship with PayPal, and you don't pay anything, no payments or anything, and no interest for 6 months. What a great deal. So you can explore that. And we also take that. In today's atmosphere, serious students will find a way to get the money to change their lives forever. For those that have access to larger finances, substantial discounts are available for paying all at once, which saves us from years of keeping track of your payments. We also give discounts for military and military family members and people with disabilities. We'll discuss all of this on your call. What else will we talk about on the call? We'll discuss where you or your child has been, where you are now, and where you or your kids want to be, along with a plan to get there. We won't be getting into your individual ideas of using the internet training. So why is that? Well, there's a couple reasons. Once you learn how to make a profit-producing website and drive traffic to it, it's a waste to only use that knowledge on one idea. Secondly, your idea may not be viable. Part of the training is teaching you how to make sure someone actually wants what you want to develop before you develop it. One of the biggest mistakes people make is falling in love with an idea, spending lots of time and money developing it, and then finding out tens of thousands of dollars later and possibly years of time that no one wants what they developed. Before we book the call, you'll make sure everyone involved is on the call. I really can't spend the time telling one family member how everything works and then getting on another call to tell another family member what I just said. Please have everyone involved there, and you're welcome to put me on speakerphone or do a Skype call so everyone can be involved. At the end of the call, you decide to take one of our slots or we'll give you a few days to discuss it with your family and get the funds together. Once you decide to enroll, we will lay out your financial terms, accept your down payment, and send you your enrollment papers. Just like any responsible institution, you have a 3-day right of rescission to change your mind with no penalty. We will review your application, and you will know within 3 business days if you're accepted. You must be able to speak English, and to enroll by yourself, you need to be at least 18 years of age. We have had people in my programs as young as 9 and 12 years old with the permission of their parents. If you're on the fence about doing this, I must tell you, I've been in business for more than 40 years, so I'm not going anywhere, and there will be no hassle if you change your mind in the enrollment period. After that, if you decide to withdraw, we will follow the guidelines in our student catalog that are more in your favor than the state even requires. This catalog also states all our policies on leaves of absence and your required weekly logins, plus all our other policies on fairness, harassment, and all other policies required by the state. Once you're accepted and we have your enrollment papers and financials, you will be registered in our learning portal. You will meet your instructor and assistant instructors. You will go through an online orientation, and then you can immediately begin your studies. Now let me take just a minute or so and show you some of our success stories. This is the young geek I hired in 10th grade who stayed with me for a couple years, and he's gone on to start a big company called Cyplex, which I think he sold for a lot of money. And then he's currently doing a thing called Pluto.tv, and I recently heard that he got $50 million in startup funding. So I just love to see these young people taking advantage of this way of doing business, way of earning a living that doesn't mean they have to go to work every day. All right, so that's Ilya. Gloria Starr, she is a top image and etiquette consultant. She's my first e-millionaire that I know of. She learned my information, she implemented it, and she's enjoying the tremendous growth in her business. This is Jeff Herring. He went from a full-time marriage and family therapist to a full-time internet marketer, which he's still doing today. I just love these stories. This is just one of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them over many years. Joan Stewart, I just love her. She's a former newspaper editor and publicity expert, and she likes to stay home. And she earns a substantial income without ever leaving the house. Unfortunately, little Bogey there is in doggy heaven now. Denise Wakeman already had a substantial business when she came to us, and she took it to a new level. So she is another great success story. But she's already a success in her own right, but people like to take things to different levels. And so we helped her go to that next level. Oh, Scott Haskins. Scott has a very interesting business where he restores artwork and murals, and he gets enormous contracts from city managers, and guess where they find him? On the web. He came to the training. He actually had a young person with him going through all the training and helping him implement all these things, and now he's found all over the country when someone needs this kind of service. And we've got many, many more. Now, if you decided already that this is something you'd like to pursue, to make an appointment, go ahead and send an email to tom@imtcva.org. And we all know email can be unreliable, so copy it to orders@antion.com. That's my personal email. If you don't get a return email within 24 hours, you can call me direct at 301-346-7403, and I'll leave the other numbers for the school and even my other company, so you have plenty of ways to reach us. I'll leave this slide up here for a second if you want to jot down some of the numbers, and wherever you're seeing this webinar, there's probably some links and information near it either beside it or below it that you can also refer to. So I look forward to talking to you and watching your progress.